Silent distance. Why don't Jimin and Jungkook appear together anymore? The sudden absence of shared appearances between Jimin and Jungkook has startled fans across the globe, leaving a haunting question hanging in the air. Why don't they appear together anymore? For two figures once seen as inseparable, the silence and distance now visible have created shockwaves, sparking debates that grow more intense with each passing day. Could this shift signify a hidden fracture? Or is it merely a byproduct of changing schedules and evolving careers? The lack of clear answers has transformed ordinary speculation into a storm of unease. What makes this silence particularly alarming is the contrast with their history. Jimin and Jungkook built an image of closeness over years, their dynamic celebrated as one of the strongest within the group. Every shared glance, every performance filled with subtle interaction, once symbolized comfort and reliability for their global audience. Now, the absence of those gestures speaks louder than words. When two artists who were always expected to stand side by side suddenly move apart, fans cannot help but wonder if something has gone wrong. Online communities have amplified this suspicion. Clips from recent performances, where they seem to avoid direct eye contact, circulate widely on platforms like TikTok and Twitter. YouTube commentators analyze facial expressions and body language with forensic intensity, presenting interpretations that suggest calculated restraint rather than natural ease. Each video fuels further speculation, and the silence from both sides only sharpens the tension. Are these signs of a deliberate separation, or are audiences projecting conflict where none exists? The industry context complicates the matter further. Both Jimin and Jungkook are pursuing ambitious solo endeavors, carving identities beyond their shared history. But does this individual focus explain their absence together, or is it masking something deeper? In the world of global stardom, where every appearance is strategically managed, fans argue that the decision not to place them together must carry meaning. Is it simply logistical, or is it symbolic? The inability to distinguish between coincidence and intention leaves space for endless theories. Emotions heighten because the bond between Jimin and Jungkook has never been just about them. For fans, their closeness has long represented stability, loyalty, and unity. To see distance now, silent and unexplained, feels like a rupture not only between two individuals, but also in the narrative fans have embraced for years. Why does this silence cut so deeply? Perhaps because it forces audiences to confront the fragility of relationships they once thought unbreakable. Speculation continues to escalate. Some argue that professional rivalry may be an undercurrent, with both striving for recognition as solo performers in an unforgiving industry. Others insist that the matter must be personal, rooted in emotions and experiences the public cannot access. But can such theories truly be trusted when they are built upon fragments of footage and incomplete information? Or are we witnessing the power of perception creating conflict where none may exist? The truth is that the absence of togetherness invites more questions than answers. Why do live broadcasts exclude the casual mentions that once came so naturally? Why do public appearances feel carefully orchestrated to prevent overlap? Why does the warmth that once defined their connection now appear replaced by silence? Without clarity, every detail becomes a potential clue, and every unexplained gap becomes evidence in the eyes of a restless fandom. But should silence be treated as confirmation? Is it possible that the absence of joint appearances reflects nothing more than the demands of individual projects, the exhaustion of relentless schedules, or the deliberate choice to maintain privacy? Or is this silence indeed loaded with meaning, concealing a reality that neither is ready to confront publicly? These questions fuel the tension, because without answers, uncertainty reigns. Fans remain divided. Some cling to the belief that nothing has changed, that distance is circumstantial, and that their bond remains intact beneath the surface. Others see the silence as undeniable proof of a fracture, an argument, or even a permanent shift in their relationship. Which perspective holds the truth? Can anyone outside their circle truly know? Or are we collectively trapped in a narrative shaped more by speculation than by fact? The larger issue is not simply the distance itself, but the way it has been consumed and magnified. Media thrives on tension, and silence provides fertile ground for sensationalism. Every absence becomes an opportunity for dramatic headlines. Every gesture a chance for exaggerated analysis. Are we, as audiences, complicit in turning ordinary human distance into extraordinary scandal? Are we feeding a cycle where speculation overshadows truth, and ambiguity is weaponized for engagement? It is undeniable that the fascination persists. Ironically, the less Jimin and Jungkook appear together, the more their absence dominates discussion. Their silence has become the loudest statement of all, demanding interpretation even if none is offered. This paradox keeps the fandom locked in speculation, replaying old moments for reassurance and analyzing new ones for signs of fracture. The bond that once symbolized certainty now embodies uncertainty itself. And so the central question endures: why don't Jimin and Jungkook appear together anymore? Is this silence the product of conflict, rivalry, or estrangement? Or is it merely a reflection of the natural evolution of their careers and lives? Until clarity emerges, the speculation will not subside. Each new performance, each new broadcast, each new public sighting will be studied for answers that may never come to in the end. The silent distance between them is more than just a matter of appearances. It is a test of perception, belief, and the fragile relationship between idols and their audiences. For now, the truth remains obscured and fans must decide. Do they interpret silence as separation, or as a reminder that not every bond is meant to be constantly displayed? Until the question is answered, the tension will continue, and the silence will speak louder than any word. The phenomenon now labeled as silent distance between Jimin and Jungkook raises questions that extend beyond the idols themselves and into the very heart of how audiences consume information. Are we truly witnessing a genuine shift in their relationship, or are we trapped in a spectacle designed to sustain attention? The lack of clarity creates a vacuum, and into that vacuum pours speculation, interpretation, and doubt. But do these narratives reveal fact, or do they expose our own willingness to accept illusion as reality? It is undeniable that the story has taken on a life of its own, amplified by countless posts on TikTok, endless threads on Twitter, and extended analyses on YouTube. But should such platforms be regarded as reliable sources of truth? Can moments taken out of context, edited, slowed down, replayed repeatedly, truly reflect reality, or do they construct a version of events that aligns more with sensationalism than fact? If every piece of information originates from spaces that thrive on engagement rather than accuracy, what confidence can we truly place in the conclusions being drawn? This leads us to an uncomfortable but urgent question. Do fans actually believe that Jimin and Jungkook's absence together signals conflict, or do they simply enjoy the intensity of speculation? When a narrative is presented with dramatic flair and repeated endlessly, does it matter whether it is true, or is its emotional power alone enough to convince us? How many readers, viewers, and commenters stop to ask, what is the evidence and who benefits from this claim being believed? Consider the possibility that this narrative itself may serve the interests of media systems built on attention. Would headlines questioning silent distance generate as much engagement if the answer were simple and harmless? Or is the suggestion of conflict deliberately sustained to ensure ongoing debate, endless clicks, and perpetual visibility? If the silence between Jimin and Jungkook is ambiguous, does that ambiguity not provide the perfect material for sensationalism to flourish? The responsibility, therefore, does not rest only with the figures under scrutiny, but with us as consumers of information. Do we read with caution, or do we rush to judgment? Do we differentiate between observation and interpretation, or do we collapse them into the same? When we encounter a clip framed as evidence of distance, do we ask what was excluded from the frame, or do we immediately accept the suggestion that silence equals estrangement? Every time we fail to pause, reflect, and question, we strengthen the cycle of speculation that may have little basis in truth. We must also confront the tendency to conflate absence with fracture. Is it truly logical to assume that a lack of visible interaction equates to conflict? Could their separate pursuits and the logistics of their careers explain what appears to be distance? Or is this explanation rejected precisely because it is less dramatic, less engaging, less sensational? Do we as audiences demand conflict simply because harmony is less interesting? These questions are not comfortable, yet they are necessary. If we cannot interrogate our own reactions, then are we not complicit in constructing the very narratives that disturb us? The deeper provocation is this: are fans truly witnesses, Or are they participants in shaping the perception of silent distance? If countless voices repeat the same speculation, does it eventually become accepted as fact, even if it is not? And if so, what happens when truth is no longer distinguishable from rumor? There is also the psychological dimension of fandom itself. Why does the idea of separation between Jimin and Jungkook provoke such strong emotions? Does the fascination stem from genuine concern? Or does it reveal a desire for narratives that intensify engagement with their image? Are we more invested in the story of their unity, or in the drama of their supposed divide? If every interpretation is filtered through the lens of personal expectation, can objectivity ever be maintained? One cannot ignore the possibility that silence may mean nothing at all. Could it be that Jimin and Jungkook's absence together is circumstantial, a matter of timing and professional obligations? And if that is the case, what does it say about us that we insist upon finding deeper meaning in it? Are we so conditioned to demand constant access that even moments of privacy are interpreted as evidence of trouble? Could our very inability to accept absence without explanation reveal more about our own insecurities than about theirs? These provocations lead to a final, urgent reflection. What do we truly believe? Do we accept that this story reflects reality? Or do we acknowledge that it may be an elaborate construction designed to hold our attention? If the narrative of silent distance proves to be nothing more than media exaggeration, will we accept our role in sustaining it? Or will we deflect responsibility, continuing to consume speculation without accountability? It is critical to state that much of the information circulating originates from unverified sources, compiled and amplified across digital platforms. While such content may feel persuasive, the truth of it remains uncertain and requires further verification. Therefore, should we not exercise greater skepticism, greater caution, and greater responsibility before embracing these claims as fact? If skepticism is absent, then do we not risk allowing fiction to dominate reality, leaving truth forever obscured by noise? The tension of this question is unlikely to fade quickly. Jimin and Jungkook's silence will continue to provoke interpretations, and media will continue to exploit that ambiguity. But what matters most is not whether they appear together again soon. What matters is whether we, as audiences, can discipline ourselves to resist sensationalism and demand evidence. Do we have the courage to admit that what we consume may not reflect reality? And are we willing to accept that sometimes the most honest answer to a mystery is that we simply do not know? Until clarity emerges, the narrative remains unresolved. But in this uncertainty lies a challenge: to rethink how we respond to the stories placed before us, to reflect critically on the role we play, and to question whether silence should be interpreted as truth or treated as mystery. The responsibility is ours, and the question lingers. Do we believe the story of silent distance? Or do we confront the possibility that it is only a fabrication, sustained by our own hunger for drama?